Alright guys, welcome back. We're going to be putting the pump back on the $500 jet ski. I had to start by making two washers. I just took two washers and cut them. They need slits in them, or not slits, they need to be flat on one side to fit around the pump housing. So I got that taken care of. And I want to show you one little mistake I made. Alright, so what I had to do is this pump, they just had bolts, as I showed you in my earlier videos, holding it on. And that is not correct at all. They're supposed to be studs. So stupid me went on eBay and I'm like, oh, I just need some SLT 750 pump studs. Yeah, okay, well, this is what I got sent. Now if you look closely, you can see there's a difference in the length. So as I went to install the other ones and try to make this video the first time, I didn't have the right studs. So now that I got the right studs, I got these two washers made. You need 4 total, you see. No big deal. They were easy. I just took my grinder, cut them off. Use the original 2 I have because they lost all the other ones. So when you're doing a project like this and you get to this part where you're trying to put something back to the way it should have been, and somebody had it the way it shouldn't have been, you're kind of hoping and praying that you get it right because you really don't know how it goes. And you got somewhat of an idea, but I don't know everything. So now that we're back on track with the longer bolts, as you can see here, I'm going to put a little RTV around these to hold them in the hole on the hull, and also seal it up good. Just a little bead, not too much, not too little though. You definitely don't want this thing leaking. Let me get a rag, wipe my finger off, and I'll show you how we're going to put them in. And I also did want to tell you it's Thursday. I'm off tomorrow. It's the middle of October up here in Michigan. It's like 55, rainy. But I'm going deer hunting for the first time tomorrow in probably 15 years, so I'm pretty excited about that. Private property, should do good. I'm really lucky to be able to have this opportunity to go where we're going to go. It's really awesome, so fingers crossed I should get a deer. And I have a brand new crossbow. I got a video I'm going to do for you guys on that, just a quick little unboxing, so we'll get the scope all sighted in and everything else. But right now let's get on the jet ski. Alright, this is the back side of the hull. That's stud 1. You can see the RTV around it. Now on the inside, I'll show you. Behind the washer, right here, where my finger's pointing, I put a little bead of RTV, and I'm going to do some blue Loctite on it. And they call for 29 foot-pounds on these. Unfortunately, I'm working by myself, so probably what I'll do is, I know it's not the right way, but I'm just going to get them nice and tight with my hands, and we're going to call it good. Yeah, you can blast me in the comments for it, but I know it'll work. Maybe when the old lady gets home, I'll have her give me a hand torquing these down to the proper spec. But I just want to get them in. My thought process too behind putting the RTV on the stud itself is to help hold it, since I'm a one-man band here, be able to get the nut on. So without further ado, let me get the nuts on, get all 4 in, and let's get the rest of it on. Now on this side here, over here, I had to take an extra little notch out of that washer to allow the room for this water flow tube. I'm thinking maybe factory they had just a smaller diameter washer there, but I'll tell you what, the bigger the washer, the less stress it's going to put on in such a small area. So we'll fit her in there. Looks like she's going to go just like that. I know it's hard to see, it's dark in here, but you got to make sure that hole is open. I'm actually going to wind up grinding even more out of that washer. Okay, we got the bolts on, the studs on the back of the hull. I got to clean up the RTV on that. Obviously the pump's going to cover all that. Let me shine the light. I'll show you what I did. You can see down in there, hopefully you can see the washer. I had to cut the top flat to make sure I clear those water lines. And on this one I made 2 flat sides on the very bottom one. So both sides are flat, and the top is flat on that one. This one, both sides are flat. You can see the back of this hull on the inside doesn't look the best, but anyway, so you can see how I did it. Now, the next thing I have a feeling is going to be a pain in the ass is on this pump. Let me show you. These have to line up on those studs, so those bolts are going to have to be turned in a certain orientation. I'll let you know how I wind up doing it, but first things first, we got to get this baby all RTV'd up and get this on the back of the hull before we do anything, because this goes up against the pump like this. So we got to get that done first. I just want to show you guys what I should have did here. my own fault. I should have taken, put the studs in here, tighten the nuts down, and then put this assembly on the back of the jet ski, the studs through the hole. I don't have anybody to help me. It's going to be too hard to hold it up. So I got extremely lucky. I'll show you. I was able to orientate the bolts, the correct orientation with the point right here. You see how I got the points up on these? I did a test fit without the other part of the housing in there, and she slid right on. So I got lucky, but I think the proper way they want you to do that, I'm guessing, is to put the studs in the pump first. Just so you guys know. I know somebody will blast me for it. Sorry, but this is the way I did it. It's gonna work for me, so cool. This right here is gonna be the piece that goes on the back of the hull. Now, I think maybe the proper way, I don't honestly know, would be to put the ride plate on as you're putting this piece on to hold it up, because it's actually gonna sit in the hull like this. But what I'm gonna do is RTV it. You can see where the old RTV lines were. Down here, up over and around here, back down and along this side here and underneath here. I don't know if the RTV is going to hold it up. It's just light aluminum, or if anything I'll take my floor jack and set it underneath here until I get the pump on, because the pump is going to hold this on. The reason being I don't want to put the ride plate on yet is I don't want it to be in my way when I'm tightening down the bolts and everything else and getting the pump on. And we're actually going to have to take the shaft out of this pump too. I forgot to tell you guys I have an alignment tool made. Don't worry, I'm going to show you how to align the pump. I'll show you all that stuff. So the impeller has to come out of this pump. Cannot have that on when you're doing that, as far as I know. I've never done it, so it's going to be my first time. But let me get this all RTV'd up really well and see what we can do here. As you can see, I took a small brush and just spread my RTV out. I do know one thing. You're definitely going to want this to seal against the hull. You don't want water getting in between there to create drag. Every other force in the world that you don't want. So we're going to give this a try. I know it kind of looks sloppy, but let's just see what happens. Now on this pump housing, you can see I got the impeller separated here. You have 3 rubber O-rings, one here, and one here. I'm going to take a little bit of this grease to hold them in place, and I'm going to set them down. You have one that's going to lay in there, and one that lays here, and one that lays here. So let me get those on. Make sure this O-ring that's going to seal your pump is in good shape, guys. Really check this big O-ring out, take it off, take a look at it. I've checked this one over. It's in good condition, so that's a plus. I'm not going to use any RTV on it. I don't think you should have to. I might be sorry I didn't. I don't know. From my past experience, the O-ring should seal. And these two, I am going to use RTV, and I'll show you why. Yes, I know you shouldn't, but on this hull, I didn't fix those small chips where those O-rings seal. You can see those small chips. So I think the RTV is going to be, it's going to be needed. So now you can tell me I'm a complete idiot. I understand. I did use my jack just to hold up that bottom plate into place. Everything slid together really nice. I got to get underneath here and double check everything. Obviously we're going to have to seat this O-ring in the pump. So once we start tightening it, it should seat. We're gonna go 29 foot-pounds on those, and we should be good to go. Okay guys, there we have it. Let the jack down. That kind of worked out nice for what I'm doing. I don't know if that was the best way to do it, but it worked out really good for me. Everything that you can feel the O-ring in here, the water inlet tube, it's gonna seal really nice in there, which it was leaking before when I got this thing. So there you have it, super nice. Let's take a look at the inside. Sorry guys, it's getting late. You're not going to be able to see much on the inside, but it does look pretty damn good in there. I hope and I pray we're going to be sealed up. No leaks. Fingers crossed. So I'm going to wrap it up for this video, guys. The next video, I'm going to be getting the rest of the pump on. Not the full pump, just the impeller housing, or the not the impeller housing, but the actual pump housing itself that holds the shaft and the bearings. And I want to drop the motor in this thing because I'm going to show you how to do a motor alignment. I had a special tool made. So this was just a quick video. We still got to do the ride plate, intake grate. We got a long way to go, but we're getting there. So all right, stay tuned. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.